Welcome to Women in Power Active. I'm your host, Jacqueline Gross. I am also the Jack of Trailside Chats with Mindy and Jack. My co-host here is amazing Erica Mann. Today we have Helen Thayer. I'm so excited about because I actually saw you at Grit and Grace in 2015 speaking, about your Polar Dream novel. And that to me was like so inspiring. I left that event like just stoked to adventure. And so I couldn't wait to have you on here. So I was wondering if we could just start with the basics. Can you tell us a little bit about how you grew up, Helen?
Well, I grew up on a 10,000 acre farm in New Zealand. And my parents they were mountain climbers as a hobby. And a very close family friend was Sir Edmund Hillary, the first person to summit Mount Everest. And so I had these wonderful childhood mentors who encouraged me into the outdoors. And I actually started climbing mountains when I was 9 years old. It was a winter climb of Mount Taranaki, 8,500 feet. And that was a huge start to my life. I learned a lot of lessons on that mountain, such as my dad saying, you could imagine 9-year-old legs halfway up this 8,500 foot mountain in winter turned to lead. Well, my dad kept saying, you don't climb a mountain in one giant step, it's one step at a time. My mother kept saying, visualize yourself, get a picture in your mind and keep it there of yourself standing on the summit. And those two lessons have been two very important lessons that have taken me throughout my entire life, through all my expeditions. When the tougher it is, the more you start saying one step at a time. In fact, just recently, I was the first person to trek the full length of Death Valley. And I started on my 80th birthday.
Yeah.
Well, everything was fine until I had some bad food halfway. Food poisoning. I mean, I always say expeditions, you have it well planned. Something is going to go wrong somewhere, so you have to be prepared. Well, I had a temperature of 104, and the Park Service wanted to take me off to the hospital, but I said no, because if I go out, I might not come back and restart. I want to finish this because I know I can. I've done this sort of thing before. And they looked at me as I was a crazy woman, but let me go. And so on I went, and it was one step at a time. I got through 6 days of that. For the first 3 days, it was 104-degree temperature. Because I kept going, I didn't recover very fast as a result, and I knew that would happen. But one step at a time, I focused 100 feet ahead of me, went to a point there, then another 100 feet, another 100 feet. And while I was going slower during days, I was making progress. And I could see myself standing at the end of that long desert walk. And I knew I could do it, and I did it. So it's just proof that if you really put that one step ahead of all the time, never go into the negatives. Once you say, oh, I'm in bad shape, I can't do this, well, you might as well go home, pack your bags and go home and stay there. But if you're willing to put yourself out, put your mind ahead and believe in yourself. That's very important. Believe, I can do this. After all, what is one more step in my whole life? That's the easy. Well, you take that and then you tell yourself another little lie and on you keep going. Yep. And of course, it can be a series of lies to yourself, but just make sure you believe them. And you just keep going, you keep going, and you keep going. And then what do you know? You've made it. You think, my goodness, I got through it after all. And, Park Service, you can imagine, oh, no, you can't do this, you're a woman. Well, I said, what does that got to do with anything? And so they got over that. And then they said, well, you're too ill. We've got to take you to the hospital. No, I'm not too ill. I don't have to go to the hospital. I can do this. And so you see, it's just a matter of, and also not allowing other people to tell you you can't. You just don't do that. And then I never set out to prove, because you say I can't do it, I will not go out and to prove that I can, to prove you wrong, because I probably won't make it. And that's very false. Instead, I go out there because I know I can do it and I want to do it. So therefore I will do it. So that's really how everything started. That's rather long.
No, perfect.
It's perfect.
But that was a huge start. And my husband, of course, had the same same idea. So we fit 55 years of marriage, we fit very well like that. So, and then of course it's continued on through the years. Even in my husband and I walked 4,000 miles across the Sahara Desert, and um, we were only three weeks into it, into Algeria. We crossed through 7 countries, and we were kidnapped, and we were stood up side by side to be executed by a gunshot. And the guns were pointed at our heads, ready for the trigger. And my husband had this bright idea, and we got out of that a little bit. And so, but even then, standing there, knowing that you're about to be executed, there was something in me that kept saying to me, right deep inside, probably through habit of being always positive, is, I know it's not going to happen.
Wait. What's the story? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you please go back and step? Wait, how did that happen?
We were kidnapped. You see, we were walking with our camels across the entire. We're the first person to walk. Now I'm the first woman to walk from Morocco to the Nile, 4,000 miles across the Sahara. And the first country was Algeria. Well, we had not seen people in 3 weeks, and here was this dust cloud. Oh, people, how wonderful. So we're waving, hi. Here we are. Well, it turned out to be a truckload of rebel soldiers, and that was not good news at all. And so we were both, my husband American, and I was traveling on my American passport, even though I have 2 passports, New Zealand and American. And they found that out, and then they didn't like that. And being what they were, very aggressive, totally out of their heads, then they kidnapped us.
Yeah.
And threw all of our gear, unloaded the camels, and threw everything onto their truck. Then their plan was.
Wait, you said they murdered the camels?
They would have done.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They unloaded everything from the camels and put all of our gear on the truck. And then their plan was to kill us, and then they would shoot our camels and then take off with everything. So, but my husband, he's a helicopter pilot, and he suddenly said, as a last minute, in the very last minute, he said, do you mind if I put my hand in my pocket and take my GPS out? Because this was a gift that Helen gave me, which was a lie, she gave me, and it would mean a lot to me to die with this in my hand. And of course, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you're crazy. Anyway, and so man, he's lost his mind. And so anyway, took it out, and then he pretended to press, a message on the keypad. Well, GPS only receives, it does not send. Well, he said to them, I've just sent a message to our base camp, and there'll be a helicopter out here within 5 minutes. I've described you, and they know who you are. Well, they believed him, and they threw everything off the truck and drove off as fast as they could go. And what they didn't realize, our budget did not run to base camps nor to helicopters.
Wow.
Got out of it. But in standing there afterwards, we talked about this, and we both felt inside that we were going to get out of this somehow. And I think it's just from the habit of always thinking positively ahead. I can do this. I know I can make this work. Somehow I will find a way to make it work. And then I walked across the Gobi Desert with a serious hip injury. And there were days when tears were just rolling down my face from pain, but I knew I could do it. It was 1,600 miles. I know I can do this. And I did it. And I'm not Superwoman. I'm 5'3" and 145, or now I guess I'm about 139 pounds. And I'm, I work out every day. I have 2-hour workout every day and lift weights and horses. So, and it's society's a strange thing. I'm now 83 years old. Well, according to society, I suppose I should be dead the way they talk, because they keep telling me, oh, it's time to stop. This is too much for you. And all this sort of thing. Well, don't I have the right to decide if it's too much for me? Is
Yep.
not my own body going to tell me these things? And is it all right, society, if I continue with my life as I wish, instead of all that negative? So we have to push. And I think as women, we need to push that negative stuff away.
Mm-hmm.
When I tried to get, I noticed one of your questions was funding for my walk to the pole.
Yeah.
I was refused because I was a woman.
Yeah.
I was told by 3 CEOs, different companies,
Yeah.
in their big leather overstuffed chairs behind these enormous desks with nothing much on them, much different to mine. And so it was, well, you're a woman and you're going alone, and you can't do that because you're a woman. Well, I couldn't see any point in even arguing with them. There was no point if that was their opinion. And so then finally, after the third one, I decided that's done. I'm done. I don't want anybody's money.
Right.
They'll do it themselves.
Yeah, because your values just don't. I mean, that you don't want money from people's whose values don't align with your own, and
No.
they didn't.
The values are so low. Don't give me your money. I don't want your money.
Right. Right.
It's absolutely done. They were done. In my world, they were done.
Mm-hmm.
They were just men who did not understand that women have a right in this world. And don't tell me, well, you're a woman. Just like, well, you're a woman. Well, I knew that.
Like, thank you for that. Thank you for that information.
That's not hard. You don't have to be Einstein to know this. And then, and you're going to be 50 years old. Well, I had that one figured out. I mean, I can count to 50.
Right.
Nothing. They were telling me nothing that was a mystery at all.
Mm-hmm.
The great disappointment to me was the gender discrimination. And I ran into that many times, over the years in expeditions. But now it's changing.
Yeah.
It is changing. I know when I walked Death Valley, all these ranges of people came out, and they were men, and they were just, they were happy to meet me, and a woman doing it. 2 men had tried it before me and had failed, and now this woman, and she's how old? And so I had a lot of fun on that journey.
So how do you see it changing? Like, specifically, you just stated one example of how you see it changing, but how else do you see that changing? Just being respected as a woman in your environment, that adventuring and planning all of these trips. How do you see it changing?
Well, I think what I see is I don't stand up on my soapbox screaming to the world, feminism, down with men and all that. I don't go that route, never have. Uh-huh. What I do is I go out and do it in my own way.
Right.
Not prove to the men or women that, hey, we're better or equal or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just go out and do it.
Right.
And then by example, then you'll show example in a quiet way. You're busy, you can demonstrate that you can do it. I said, and so by just doing it without a lot of fanfare, then you are demonstrating what women can do.
Right.
And then when they ask me questions, about what I say, this is what women can do. I tell them then,
mm-hmm.
We can all do this because we're all created equal.
Mm-hmm.
Every person in this world is a special person. And so, and I think by just sheer demonstration,
mm-hmm.
that we can do these things.